Well, that paints the picture for you of just how wet it is here at Symmons Plains in Tasmania. We're just outside of Launceston, and the weather has got progressively worse as the weekend has gone on. Here's the first two pages of graphics for you. Scaife and Bargwanna, Crompton, Tander, Ingle and Seaton. Ingle was getting stronger at the end there. McConville, you can scratch from this one, and we'll be talking with Cameron. He'll join us in the commentary soon. And Stephen Richards, you can also scratch.
John Bowe will take the grid though. Greg Murphy will start from 10th position. Larry Perkins and John Faulkner off row 6. Cameron McLean and Paul Wheel out of 7. And Leighton Cranbrook, 22nd. He started that second race up to 15th. Great effort that, and Dick Johnson. That's a marvellous effort from that guy, and one day we'll show you a picture of him on the television. He is a very, very slender young guy. Get ready, this is race 3. Round 9 of the Shell Championship Series. Will we see Bargwanna take the win, or will Scaife get 2? Away we go!
Just no Scaife.
Scaife sort of bogged down at the start there. Plenty of wheel spin, but he will take him into the first corner. Bargwanna dives into second. Look at Ingle on the inside of Tander. He's got him. A nice move by the enforcer, so he's there. Tander tries to fight back. Bowe squirms out of there, and Murphy is in there also.
Well, it looks like that new grid formation has been a big success at Symmons Plains. 3 clean starts as they go through the 1 and 2 combination. Look at Jason Bargwanna. He might have got beaten off the line, but he's back on the attack as they break hard for the hairpin for the first time. On the outside of Mark Scaife, switches across. Neil Crompton in 3rd position. Then the enforcer, a great start from Ingle. He's up to 4.
The overwhelming comment from every driver is that we could go faster, but you just cannot see. And they said it is driving by braille. You just cannot see out there. Cameron McConville will give us more of an idea about that shortly during this race. There's Garth Tander. Didn't get away to the best of starts, and Russell Ingle was able to capitalise on that. Oh, there's that big puddle of water. Watch Bargwanna. He's all over the back of Scaife on the opening lap.
Yeah, that water on the inside of the corner there, you know, if they try and clear it, it just goes back there again. But it's very, very dangerous because, you know, you're looking at the outside of the corner to come out of it, and then all of a sudden you get aquaplaning from the inside. It's not nice.
There's the points as they stand today after race 2. Scaife on top, Crompton and Bargwanna tied for second. Murphy on 80. So anyone could be on this podium. Depending on how this race pans out, looks like there's plenty of action ahead of us. Mark Scaife, lights ablaze, brakes hard again, keeping Bargwanna boxed in.
Ingle's on the charge in this one.
Now you may notice that Russell Ingle doesn't have his windscreen wiper in operation. He's decided to go for the Rain-X option, which is the liquid that you put on the windscreen and it beads the water. So that's why there is no windscreen wiper on Ingle's car. Here's the replay of his start.
Oh, look at that. Oh, great. You know, just got great grip off the line and up the inside of Tander, and basically he's on the proper side of the circuit, or the right side of the circuit, and it was all over Red Rover.
Good example too of how that Rain-X product works. It's a film that they wipe across the glass and the water just beads off it. It's almost more effective than a windscreen wiper, and Russell's using that to very good effect here as he climbs right up behind Neil Crompton.
You'd have to say psychologically though, Mark, you would think, I hope this stuff works, but look at just this is a shot through Russell's windscreen, and you see the way the water just, and I have to say it really seems to work better than the wipers.
Yeah, well, his wiper was actually working so slowly in the last race that when you drive your car and it usually goes across and you have a clean screen for a short amount of time, it was that slow. By the time it came back, the screen was full of water again anyway.
That's an unusual good amount of visibility. I know it looks pretty mucky, but that isn't a bad visibility.
Up the back straight, Russell Ingle sitting in behind Neil Crompton. Lights ablaze, 240 kilometres an hour as they break hard at the end of the back straight. Ingle on maximum attack in Heat 3. He really wants these points to move closer to our championship leader. Craig Lowndes absent today. Everyone's trying to capitalise on that situation.
Now, if Neil Crompton can remain here and finishes on the podium, that will be his first podium finish since Barbagallo in 1993. It's been a long time between drinks. Now, if we get a shot here, look at Bargwanna. You notice Bargwanna doesn't have his headlights on. He said it's a little trick he's been using. He feels that gives him an advantage that the driver in front can't see him coming.
Sure about this?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Well, it is pretty hard to see out of the back of the car. You can see the amount of spray. Ingle has a look up the inside. The outside, I should say. Crompton on the inside. That's a good place to be. Just seen coming out of this hairpin. It's very, very difficult to overtake.
The problem is, you see, if you were brave enough to get alongside there, around that next right-hander, there's no way that you would go on the outside in this with the conditions like this, Mark.
Well, Crompton said there's so much dirt and garbage on the track that he actually was getting hit in the face with stones flying around inside the cabin. He actually pulled his helmet visor down to protect his face. There is so much rubbish and dirt out there. It's really causing havoc.
Tander is still maintaining a solid 5th position. Glenn Seaton 6th. John Bowe 7th. Greg Murphy has come from 10th up into 8th. Perkins is 9th. And John Faulkner, a very strong run. He is in 10th from Cameron McLean in 11th. And Dick Johnson has worked his way up to 12th. Paul Wheel is in 13th position.
There's a lot of surface water. There's a lot more than it. You look at the actual track, it doesn't look like there's a lot of surface water. But you see the amount of water coming off the wheels. It's obviously quite a lot out there. It's for Rodney Forbes.
One of our top privateers, Rodney Forbes, he's come off at the end of the back straight and he's gone way out in the grass. Hopefully he can get himself unbogged and get back into the action. Meanwhile, there's a shot from our camera. And look at the amount of rain out there just distorting the lens. That's how bad it is. Conditions absolutely atrocious at Symmons Plains this afternoon, but Mark Scaife continues to charge at the head of this field. He really has been in command after getting past Greg Murphy in Heat 2.
Shell Hillick's replay, Rodney Forbes.
Yeah, just sort of locked her up on the back end by the looks of it, turning into the left-hander. It's in conditions like this, I mean, it's just so easy to do that. Oh,
Crompton.
Oh, Crompton. Oh, Neil.
Wow.
Oh, dear. You can see it's raining heavily again now.
He's stuck. No point in doing that, Neil. You're stuck there for the day.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind betting, Neil.
Safety car will come out if he can't get out of there, because that's a dangerous position.
Yeah, very dangerous place. So Crompton out of the action. Ingle now up to 3rd position. Garth Tander right up behind the Valvoline machine in 4th. So the battle for 3rd and the battle for 1st involved 2 Valvoline cars. Another strong weekend for Gary Rogers Motorsport as his 2 young chargers chase hard in these atrocious conditions.
Well, if Bargwanna can stay here, here's Crompton.
Oh, boy, Neil. I wouldn't mind betting it was, that's the left-hander where the water is on the inside there. And I'm pretty sure I would say that... Oh, no,
this is out of Ingle's
yes,
car.
that's it. That's the big puddle on the inside.
That's what he's done, the big aquaplane, hasn't he?
Yeah, the big puddle on the inside there. And that's what nearly... Can you remember when we saw Scafey's face with his eyes hanging out on his rings?
Safety car is on the track as we expected. That was in far too dangerous position to leave Crompton's car there. So the safety car comes out again for the 3rd time today. Slow this field down, get the wrecks out of the way and return to racing.
That helps, well, all of the drivers chasing Scaife. They'll all bunch up behind the safety car now. I notice Bargwanna's just turned his lights on. As we slow things down yet again here at Symmons Plains, they'll reform, and as soon as they remove Neil Crompton's car from the circuit, we will get back under green. Scaife leads the way, of course. Bowe has been strong, and he's getting stronger as the day goes on, and we'll be back at Symmons right after this. Welcome back to Symmons Plains. We're under green, and off we go again. The restart in race 3, they've cleaned up. You can see Crompton off to the side of the track there. Now Ingle is very much closer to Bargwanna as they head up towards the hairpin for the first time at the restart. Bargwanna is no longer challenging Scaife. He is defending from Ingle.
Yep, down toward the hairpin once again. Scaife showing superior speed in these bad conditions, but Russell Ingle really the mover in the pack. Up from 5th position, jumped into 4th at the first corner. Now he finds himself up in 3rd after Crompton's off. So Ingle really on a fly-up.
Well, the season turned around for the enforcer from Hidden Valley, the Darwin round. He and the guy who runs his car, Oscar Furinato, they have really turned their season around and said that they've enjoyed some success, and especially here, Russell's actually quickest in the first 2 free practice sessions. They've been doing a lot of work with shocks. And don't forget, you can stay up to date with all the information of the drivers and the teams and the events on www.v8supercar.com.au.
I spoke to poor old Greg Murphy between the races, and he was heavily not impressed with Imrie and Dougal McDougal. He said they were going so slow that they should basically have just got out the way. And it's you feel sorry for Murph because they totally destroyed his day.
Yeah, then you talked to Tim Schenken and he said that there were yellow flags out and no one could see it because of the spray. It's just been one of those days. It's absolutely terrible conditions for these guys to race in. But they're doing a marvellous job of it, particularly that man, Mark Scaife, car 2. Jason Bargwanna hot in pursuit, 1 second the gap now back to 2nd position. Ingle sitting in behind the Valvoline Cummins car, and there's Garth Tander up behind the enforcer, so a great battle for 2nd position.
A couple of very impressive runs today. That's Glenn Seaton, who is now in 5th position after starting the day in 12th, and John Faulkner, who was way back in the teens, is now in 9th position.
Just goes to show when you get a day like this, if you can just hang out there and just keep finishing, it's amazing how you move up the order.
You wouldn't want to hit that mud off to
No,
the left there.
absolutely. You'd be, mind you, if you get out that way, you're probably in trouble anyway.
Garth Tander, 22-year-old Gary Rogers Valvoline Cummins pilot, has battled today not only with the wet weather but his sickness. And he said he can't wait for the day to be over. And he said, I honestly could go a lot faster out there, but I just cannot see. And that was the comment from Ingle, from Crompton, from everybody.
Ultra competitive in the Shell Series so far. Up in 6th position in the points coming into this round.
Well, I have to say, I'm not too sure of that anti-fog stuff now, Mark.
I think there's so much rain, Baz, it's washed it off.
I guess you're right, but it's... what's the situation with that when Russell puts his wiper on top of that stuff? I guess it just washes it off and that's that.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah, it still works effectively, but you can just see how much water and spray is out there. That was the view out of the right-hand side of the car, so that's exactly what Russell Ingle's seeing. And there's not a lot you can say.
Horrible.
The Mitre 10 lap counter, lap 12 of 23, word from down under that Faulkner's run has come to an end. He is in the pits, and the day is over also for 16-year-old debutant Paul Dumbrell, who is in Faulkner's older VS, so not such a satisfying day after all.
Russ has got his wiper on now. I can't tell you, in a situation like this where you can't see, you think, I'm mad. You've got the thing flat on the floorboard, you can't see your hand in front of your face. It's just the strangest thing.
Well, as promised, someone who's going to tell us firsthand is Mobile Holden Racing Team driver for this weekend and filling in for Craig Lowndes, Cam McConville. Cam, welcome to the commentary box and tell the folks at home just how tough it is.
Well, Lee, it's absolutely atrocious out there, I can tell you. In the previous race, I was driving pretty much blind through this part of the circuit, just looking for the white lines, as we see poor JF, who was doing so well there.
Yeah, he was. The day's over for John Faulkner. I mean, you're doing, what, 230 kilometres an hour, still even in the wet through that sweeper.
Yeah, it's flat out in 6th gear, so you can still go through there flat in the wet, but I had problems with the engine sort of overheating as the race went on, so the fluid going up on the windscreen was making it even worse. It's just, you are really, really blind and just looking for the white lines to see where the bitumen is.
Russell Ingall is really starting to close up on Bargwanna, and Bargwanna is closing the gap on Scape as well, so we are in for one great race as this gets towards the end. Now, Cam, we've been describing throughout the day, we've seen the pitted and eroded front spoilers and headlights and bonnets where they've just been getting water and also sandblasted. That led to the reason why yourself and Stephen Richards and perhaps even Paul Radisich are out of this race. You might like to explain that.
Yeah, well, our radiator was totally blocked after that second race, and the car went to nearly 150 degrees, which is obviously way too hot, but we had to press on and finish the race. But when you actually go offline to see where the braking points are, particularly around here through the high-speed sweeper, when you go offline, there's a lot more debris lying there, so therefore it just splatters the front of the car, and our radiator really looked like a sealed bit of road. You could not see it at all, just totally covered with debris.
Well, the same problem that you suffered happened to Stephen Richards as well. This is his teammate on screen, Greg Murphy, in the Wins Commodore, who is now up as high as 7th behind John Bowen, ahead of Larry Perkins. And exactly the same thing Richards reported back, that his radiator was totally blocked. It's actually even chipping the glass on the headlight.
It is, and I echo the thoughts of Neil Crompton there with debris flying in through. If you have your driver's window down to try and get the front screen demisting, you also get debris coming in through the window there. So really shocking conditions out there today, but these guys up the front are still trying hard.
Cameron McLean, oh dear.
Day's over for the Greenfield Mowers pilot after having a good run. Now, he was in 9th position when that happened, and at the moment I can't work out where that is. Oh, that's it. Oh, he's gone right up at the end of the hairpin. Steve Reed in the Microplex PPG car was there as well. Now, earlier in the weekend, Cam, Friday and Saturday, we were told about that some diesel was spilled at the hairpin. Has that taken any effect? Has that had an effect as we watch the replay here?
That's, yeah, Cameron McLean just sort of looked like he went to have a little go up the outside of Larry and just got his wheels on the mud, but it looks, no, maybe he was rushing up and sort of thought, hang on a bit, I'm going a bit too quick into that. What do you reckon, Cameron?
Yeah, I think he may have locked a rear brake there, Barry, as you say. He went in a bit deep, but the car went completely sideways as soon as he did apply the brake, so perhaps a little bit too much rear brake bias, which you do tend to put a little bit more to the rear in the wet, but perhaps a little bit too much in that situation.
and then he got the wheels on the mud, and that's the end of the story.
All over.
It's quite a lucky escape for him at the end there. Did you see?
Yeah.
He just pulled it up before coming into contact with the Armco. This battle for second and third continues. Is there at any stage out there that you were actually really worried for your safety? Or
I've got to be honest and say yes. I radioed to the guys and said I'm having really trouble seeing where I'm going because with the engine getting hotter and throwing stuff over the windscreen, it was really blind. So I sort of actually backed off behind Garth a little bit to get some vision. But you tend to soldier on and you know, just do your best and try and finish and keep position.
it's the first time you've raced here since 1992 in the Formula 4. It's not really a nice welcome back, is it?
No, it's not, but it hasn't changed any down here. It always tends to rain. But Russell's doing a great job. He's just been chipping away all weekend, and I think he's got a really good chance to pip Bargwanna here.
Well, we see Garth Tander, who is right behind. That's who you can see Russell Ingall looking at in the rearview mirror. This is the camera that we usually have on Russell's, the actual headshot. We've turned it around to give you the driver's point of view as we come down. Cam, you might like to talk us around here.
Yeah, well, you could see that when you brake there, you can actually see where you're going, but through the corner you can't see it all.
Oh, it's Rodney Ford just going to kind of understeering off into the going to do it about
same corner as previously, I think.
Yeah. Very, very slippery there. Yeah, I mean, while we watch these guys have a terrific battle, you might like to talk us around a lap.
Certainly. Well, you're short shifting to fourth gear there. You can still wheel spin under the bridge. Then you grab fifth gear halfway down the straight. You tend to stay on the inside here so you can see where the braking points are. You can't actually read the markers as you come up. Very, very slow here. First gear, probably about 20% throttle. First short shift to second. You can hear Russell's actually got wheel spin in second gear as well. Now into fourth gear. We'll grab fifth. And then top gear about halfway around here. Sixth gear now, flat, still full throttle, and should just be able to see about now. You can see his pupils got a little bit bigger and bigger and bigger. Back to third gear. Watch that the car doesn't understeer because there's that puddle on the left that we've seen most of the weekend, or most of today certainly. Short shift to fourth through here, just feeding on power.
Garth Tander has gone in exactly the same position as Neil Crompton and in exactly the same way.
Yeah, exactly. That's the killer puddle.
Wow. How treacherous is it there, Cameron?
Yeah, very, very slippery. You're in fourth gear, or you short shift, as I say, or you grab the gears earlier than you would up to maximum rev. You've got to feed the power on so progressively, and just the car gets very taily on the exit there if you hit that sort of puddle on the outside. Also, the surface changes. It goes into a newer, shinier surface, so there's less grip there on the outside of the track.
Well, we have less than 5 laps remaining. Will we see the safety car come out, or will they try and crawl this one home? Let's have a look at the replay of the Tander incident.
Yeah, I would imagine back to the old puddle on the inside that starts. So it starts it all off, you lose it, and then, well, Cameron's been out there all day long. He knows better than mine.
Yeah, it looks as though, I mean, it went around very, very quickly, so maybe it even aquaplaned at the front end of the car and spun around on its own axis. It's very, very little grip. Luckily, he didn't hit the wall, though.
Yeah. Ingall is through on Bargwanna. So persistence has paid off for the enforcer, and he's gapped Bargwanna quite considerably, very quickly. Lap 20 of 23.
Well, you never know. We never saw it. Maybe Jason made a mistake or something, because he's got a pretty big lump pretty quickly, hasn't he? So...
Well, Russell Ingall is one of the drivers challenging Mark Scaife and Craig Lowndes and Glenn Seaton for this championship. Craig Lowndes is sitting at home with his wife Natalie today, and he'd be saying, no, I don't want to see Ingall in second, but he's there.
He is in the best place, I have to say. It's 9 degrees, 8 degrees outside.
And teammate Mark Scaife leading the way, and David Skippy Parsons is having an amazing run in this final race. He is up into 8th position. There he is. This is the Tasmanian David Parsons. This is his first run in a V8 supercar this year, and will team with David Truckee Parsons in the Challenge Recruitment Racing team for the Enduros in Queensland and at Bathurst. That vision isn't getting any better, is it?
I'm quite surprised they haven't put the safety car out to shift Tander's car, actually.
Well, let's have a look. We've got a replay on the way. Here we go.
Yeah, you saw Jason on the inside there lose a bit of time in the same old puddle situation. Is that the same place or not? It's yeah, he lost the front and it just sort of collected up again, and it gave Russell the time to nip through on the inside.
So it's Scaife, Ingle, Bargwanna. Seaton is up to 4th, the quiet achiever after starting the day in 12th. Now look at this, the enforcer is right on Scaife.
What a mate, how about that for a charge?
So here comes Russell Ingle.
Look at this, look at this.
Within 2 laps, he has caught Mark Scaife after passing Jason Bargwanna.
I'd say Scaife is in a pretty big...
Oh, he's gone for the inside run.
Oh, how good is that? It looks to me as if Scaife is in mammoth tyre trouble. I don't know whether he is or not, but maybe Russell looked after his tyres a bit better in the first couple.
It even looked like Russell maybe even locked the front there going through that section, and but he hung on to it beautifully. That's a big challenge, Cam. That's a brave move there.
He does have a go, Ingle, doesn't he? I mean, you've got to hand it to him. He does have a go.
Certainly does, and that was very brave to go sort of around the outside there, but Mark's tyres should be in fairly good shape. It's not as if it's eased. I just think it's so wet now that you can see the back of the car moving around, and he's just got to try and keep the car nice and straight.
Well, here we go. Talk us through this one, Cameron.
Well, you could see that Mark had the inside, looked fairly comfortable under brake, so there was nothing really. Inga had a bit of a look in the mirror and probably tried to slow him down in the middle of the corner so he could get a good slingshot out and maximum drive up the straight.
Well, this is it. Scaife's only got to hang on for one more lap. He is on the way home as of now. Can he hang on and make it 2 out of 3, or will Russell Ingle pick up a win at Symmons Plains? This is it, an anxious last lap. Just to update you on that tyre situation, we promised you we would. The drivers were given the opportunity to go to new tyres, but they would be made to go rear of grid. So obviously, none of the front-running teams chose that option.
Cameron, you'd have to say the thing to do would push Mark as fast as possible through the place where the surface water is, and you hopefully to make him make a mistake or whatever. But
yeah, he may be able to have a run to the flag if he closes under brakes and catches right up on Mark. He may, as you say, push him through that last little bit, but it looks as though Scaife's got a bit of a gap here. I should be in the middle there. That would have been any scenario.
What are you doing up here? This is it. The final 2 corners. Mark Scaife in the Mobile Holden Racing Team Commodore. The enforcer isn't giving up though. The final corner, the run to the checkered flag, and Mark Scaife will pick up his 5th round win of 1999. Scaife takes it out from Russell Ingle in a very determined drive. Few of the HRT boys there extremely happy with their run, but Russell Ingle, how about that? A sigh of relief from Mark Scaife, shakes her head and says, thank God I am home.
That was a great drive from Ingle, wasn't it? Absolutely.
There's Russell and Mark waving to each other, the toughest of competitors, but sportsmanship prevails. And Russell just opening up the door and waving to this huge crowd here. Well, Cam, thanks very much for coming up, and we'll wait and see on an update on Craig Lowndes whether he makes Winton, and if he doesn't, we'll assume that you're in.
Yeah, well, I hope Craig's getting better at home, but mate, you didn't miss much, trust me.
There he is, Cameron McConville, who is filling in for the injured Craig Lowndes. And there is, well, both of the guys' Mobile Holden Racing teammate Mark Scaife, who picks up and now makes it 5 round wins from 9. Scaife, Ingle, Bargwanna, Seaton and Bow. They're your top 5. We'll be back to wrap it up right after this.
Well, with the absolutely atrocious conditions at Symmons Plains Raceway this afternoon, all the safety cars were running very short of time. Just enough time to congratulate our great performers today. The top place privateer was Cameron McLean. In 3rd position today, a great drive too, I'm sure you'll agree, from Russell Ingle. In 2nd place, it was Jason Bargwanna, a great drive in the Valvoline Commodore. And now I'd like to call on Ross Brodie, Motorsport Manager for Shell, to make the presentation to our winner. It's his 5th win in 1999, Mark Scaife. I've heard blokes talk about having a hard day at the office. I reckon that would rank right up there, wouldn't it?
Oh, look, in the last race there when the tyres were so worn, Mark, and the conditions as they were, I mean, it was absolutely out of control. And I mean, it's a great battle. Russell and I had a great battle at the end there, and it was one of the best races we've had.
That looks like maximum pressure driving. When you've got a bloke like Ingle coming up to you in the spray, you can hardly see where you're going. That's tough work.
Well, I don't know which one's best. When you're behind, you can't see, but when you're in front, you're a pioneer. So I really don't know what's best. But well, full credit to the guys. First time we've had a VT here, and obviously the car was fantastic.
Congratulations, Mark Scaife. Put your hands together, folks. The big winner at Symmons Plains Raceway in absolutely atrocious conditions.